Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing good, and I wanted to take some time to go over the geography of ancient China. You needed to answer and turn in these questions using Canvas. There's three parts, and I'm going to take a minute to go through each one. Um, if you notice, there was a lot of information that you kind of had to pick through and sort out to find these answers. I'm going to kind of stick to this sheet right here when I create the test. So I know on this slideshow here, there were a lot of slides that kind of gave extra supporting information and little details. So just, I kind of want to take a second to go over and explain these answers to everybody. So we'll start at part one. And we use this slideshow to answer these questions. So why is the Yellow River yellow and how did it get its nickname? So it's easier if I show you a picture of it. So the Yellow River is also known as the Wang Ho, and it actually is yellow. It is yellow because of a sediment called loess found in the water. It also has another name called China's Sorrow, and it got that because the floods have devastated the area. If you come down here and look, six of the 10 top 10 deadliest floods ever took place on the Yellow River or the Yangtze River. So they really are dangerous. They can have catastrophic implications when they flood. Um, so that's how it got the name China's Sorrow. The Yangtze River is home to many of the deadliest floods ever in the world. What could be put in place to help prevent these floods in the future? They built dams along the Yangtze and Yellow River in order to stop the flooding. This had pros and it had cons. There were good things and bad things. Some of the good things were it controlled flooding and it created clean electricity. However, it stopped animals from moving through the river and it prevented some of those sediments that were really, really needed to help replenish the farmland from getting downstream. So when they built the dams, they didn't get the floods, which meant some of the farmland wasn't able to be used as much or it wasn't able to produce as much as it could. However, people were still able to live there. So the East China Sea, what problems could pop up? The main issue we see is overpopulation. Just so many people live there that there's just not enough space to grow food. There's not enough space to live. Pollution, all of the same problems we saw in other civilizations when we had overpopulation. Um, the South China Sea is important, and I want us to look at this. Um, South China Sea, right here, 1/3 of all of the world ships have to pass through here in order to get to their destination. So this is a very, very important trade network that is important for people all over the world. So it's important to the Chinese because all of the ships pass through it. That's both ancient and modern. Um, Tibet is important and it provides the natural resource of water. During winter, all of the ice at the top of the mountains freeze. Over the summer, through gravity, it melts, runs through the rivers, and then provides the new water and like part of the cycle to the Yellow and Hong Ho and all of its other little offshoots. So the Himalayan mountains and the plateau of Tibet provide all of the fresh water for the world, or that part of the world. So this is one that a lot of people asked me about, and I want to show y'all this one on a map. So the three natural barriers that protected China or also isolated them was the Gobi Desert. No army or people could travel through this desert safely and make it to China. Likewise, most people in China couldn't travel out. The highest mountains in the world are right here. It's the Himalayan mountains. Mount Everest is right there. This is what I want to talk to y'all about today. So people still can't cross over it, and getting through it is very, very difficult. The third barrier is the East China Sea. People, again, once you run out of land, you hit the sea, there's nowhere else to live, and you kind of have that issue of overpopulation. So the three barriers are the Gobi Desert, the Himalayan mountains or plateau of Tibet, and the East China Sea. Now I'm going to skip to part 3 and because this is on the same PowerPoint. So if you notice, there are numbers. Number 1, Yellow River, that corresponds to the number on here. So 1, Yellow River, Hung Ho, or China's Sorrow. Number 2 is the Yangtze. Now look, number 3, 4, and 5 are confusing. The only way that you are going to remember this is to teach yourself. Yellow River, Yellow Sea, South China Sea, East China Sea. These are confusing and this will be on your test, so you need to be able to identify these things. 3 is the East China Sea, right? Out here is the East China Sea, right? 6 is the Plateau of Tibet. 7, Gobi Desert. Number 4 is the Yellow Sea because the Yellow River goes into it, right? And then number 5 is the South China Sea because it's to the south of China. I will answer questions about this today, but this is one you do need to know. Moving a little quickly, I do kind of want to talk about the New Go story. And that is when you click, you kind of came to the story, you clicked through, and it kind of explained how people were made. And there's one big connection I want us to get. The Yellow River is important in what purposes it serves. It's part of the creation myth. That should be creation. Myth for the ancient Chinese people. It describes how the first people were made, and it describes the distinction between the people in China. The people that were molded by New Go, they're the higher classes. They're the kings, the queens, the leaders, right? And the people that were just flecks of mud, those were the lower class people. So it tells why there was a distinction of the people. The great sorrow is the flooding of the river. Imagine every time that river flooded, the devastation, and so the people needed it, but it also came at a price. The turtle in the story, its 4 legs plugged the holes of the dam of the river and stopped it from flooding. Those legs represent dams that the ancient Chinese built before the huge one, the Three Gorges Dam. The comparison I want y'all to make, and this is what I really want to hear from y'all. So look, in ancient Mesopotamia, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers flooded, right? And it was so predictable, they could make their calendars based on it, right? The floods came and the floods went every single year at the same time. So the ancient Mesopotamians were able to use that to their benefit by using a writing system to create a calendar, and then they could predict when the floods would come, and they would use that to either get out of the way or put crops to get water. The ancient Chinese were not able to predict when the floods were going to come. So they had to live with the river and adapt to it and build floods. So the same thing, flooding in a civilization they had different ways of solving the same problem. I look forward to talking with y'all about this today. If you have any specific questions, please let me know. Please send me an email or ask them in class today. Thank you all so much, and please make sure that you have turned in this assignment in Canvas. I will start deducting points on tomorrow, the 13th. Thank y'all so much.